Welcome, everyone. Regardless of today's very unfortunate events, I hope everybody's having a good start to their week. There's not that many people in here, so I'm going to give some shout outs real quick. Been Dreamin', Kate Monk, Mistaken Reaper, Swendiga, Redefined, Laura P, Cherry, of course, Patty, Jersey Devil, Tuesday's Child, Leo, Lex Lux, Kelly Green, South Florida Mama, SoFlo Mama, Mod Squad, Remy, Jessica Neff, Crisscross Applesauce, The Songbird, Mr. Harlan's Tales of History's Famous Burglars, Carrie BK, Susan Lloyd, Katie, Grandmaster Sid Sophos, Kelsey 206, all right. All right. True Crime Dime. Team Brittany, welcome. If I missed anybody, I apologize. I just kind of want to get right into it here. I don't expect a lot of people in this one, simply because it's not the hot topic of conversation within the community so much right now. There's a little bit of it being talked about here and there, but if you notice my title, Nashville Christian School Tragedy, Trans or Gun Issue. SoFlo Mama, welcome. Trans or gun issue. Is it a trans or gun issue at all? Either one is actually the context in which I meant to format that question. And we're going to explore that a little bit. Some of you might be thinking, well, why are you focused on that? Why is that what matters right now? That's a really good question. And it's because that seems to be every headline now. After this press conference that just took place, now every headline that I'm seeing is shooter was a trans person or part of the trans community or identified as trans or something to that effect. So if you're wondering, why are people discussing this issue? Why is this the issue so quickly even? Well, I guess you better ask all those mainstream news sources, because I'm actually in agreement with you. And the only thing that I could think to do that would be separate from what anybody else is doing is to just address the issue immediately. Because there are 6 people dead, and 3 of them are children at the age of 9 years old. One of them hasn't even reached their 9th birthday yet. But 9 years old. And because of this society that we live in now, this climate that we live in, and I'm not even going to say a political climate. That's a whole nother issue. The fact that the climate itself is now political for the most part is clearly a problem. And if the fact that this is the thing that everyone is talking about right now isn't an indication of that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, I put up this poll here, and I'm going to close it now. And I had 110 votes, and literally 24% of you said that this was a trans issue, that this was an issue with the trans community. Okay. Now, as you guys know, uh, this is a channel where we discuss crime cases. We discuss certain variables of crime cases. And this being a crime case and this issue being a variable of this crime case. Um, I want to tell you 24%. You're in the wrong chat. Because I'm going to try to be nice because I do believe in everyone's freedom of opinion, most definitely. We're all entitled to our opinions. And as an American, you have every right to feel however you feel. And if you're in my chat, consider yourself on American land. As far as I'm concerned, you're in my home. And I am a proud American. And if you're from overseas and you're listening and watching from overseas, consider yourself an American if you're in my chat. That's how I feel about that. And because I feel so strongly about freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and you all, those 24% of you who think that this crime is a trans issue, okay, Roe Ventures LLC. Just because there's a manifesto doesn't mean that it's a trans issue. Okay. Maybe it's an issue for the shooter. Okay. Maybe it's an issue for the shooter. But see, here at the Glarer, I want you guys to understand something very important. Here at the Glarer, all we give a shit about are these victims. Because I know that no matter how important the trans issue is, whichever way your opinions lean towards, 3 9-year-old kids didn't have to die for it. Okay? 3 9-year-old kids didn't have to die for it, and 3 adults who work with those kids did not have to die for it. So if you're in here and you're of the opinion like, oh, this was just bound to happen, I knew those trans people were just as bad as everybody else, and blah 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 blah, blah. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. There are 3 children dead because somebody irrelevant to me, okay, somebody premeditated and planned an attack. And whatever that person's issues are, irrelevant to me. I don't give a shit what they dress like. I don't give a shit what they feel like on the inside. There's no excuse for that. Mental health issues have been around for a long time. Guns have been around for a long time. This problem just started in the last 20 years. So don't give me this, it's a gun issue and we need to control the guns and, oh, fuck, these trans people, it's just a matter of time before they show their true colors and blah, 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 blah. No, this is a sick asshole. I don't give a fuck what's in between their legs and what they wish they had in between their legs. I don't give a fuck about that. This is a sick asshole who took the lives on a premeditated basis of 6 innocent people, and 3 of them being small children. And for you to use this as an excuse to further to somehow in your mind strengthen your argument towards your ridiculous or strong, even not ridiculous, whatever the fuck they may be, but your strong political beliefs, and that takes precedence over those 6 people losing their lives, well, then you don't belong here. You're not going to get anything out of this channel. There's absolutely no reason, excuse for what happened to happen. But It is asinine, fucking insane to try to blame this on a group of people. It is unbelievably prehistoric. It is Neanderthal. It doesn't make sense. Because what your feelings are about the trans community, whether you are supportive of them, whether you're an advocate for them, or whether you strongly feel against it because you are a devout Christian or whatever your reasons for thinking that it's evil, whatever, has nothing to do with these people losing their lives. Your feelings about that shit has nothing to do with what happened here today. Now, I'm already fired up over this, as you could probably tell. And then I just stumbled on, I guess maybe because I titled this the way that I did, and I guess my algorithm just did what it did. And then this popped up on my feed. Never listened to this guy once. But I'm going to go ahead and stream his shit here because his title caught my attention. So I might have a new toy here, folks. Now this guy's obviously pro guns. And I don't like to say that I'm pro guns. I don't like to label it like that, but I am someone who believes in the Second Amendment, and I am definitely pro the Second Amendment, but I'm not like a gun enthusiast. I don't particularly like them, if I'm being honest, but I am pro Second Amendment. So every time there's been a shooting like this, I've expressed my feelings about it, as far as, because that issue always comes up. I don't feel that this is a gun issue. Not at all. I don't think it's any more of a gun issue than it is a trans issue, if I'm being completely honest. But I will go ahead and share this because I haven't watched this yet. This will be reaction on my part, but the dude's title got my attention, as I said before, and it kind of pissed me off. Okay. So the title of this is hold on. Is Thinktown Podcast, episode 7, Nashville shooter, a boy or a girl? A boy or a girl? Now, maybe he used that as clickbait. I don't know. But as you can see, his background here is very libertarian-esque. But I'm going to venture to guess that it's right-leaning libertarian, where I am more of a left-leaning libertarian. But let's pay attention to what this dude has to say here.
They, excuse my French, shit canned my entire last stream. Actually went back and looked, and apparently they were sending me some warnings during my live stream. Apparently there were some warnings. If you'll notice, my scene is a little different back here. I was getting warnings, and I did not realize that YouTube was not at all happy with my live stream from earlier. In fact, I could not restart it on that computer over there. As much as I tried to get my live stream going on that computer, it would not work. So I killed that one, came over here to this one, which is where I sit for my Thinktown podcast. And guess what? I can actually stream here. Tell me YouTube does not do what they want,
Who
right?
gives a shit?
Tell
dude?
me
I'm
YouTube
sorry,
does not
man,
do that.
but
Trying to pull up this same live stream that I had. You that are coming back into the channel there, you'll notice the background is a little live stream
all
to
day.
start back.
Retrieve
And kill this while I'm setting it up. So I couldn't get the live stream to go back over there. So I killed that computer, pulled it off the internet, came over here to this workstation, and lo and behold, it works here. YouTube was not happy with my live stream today.
now I
So
don't know.
ditching all of you guys.
I don't know who this guy is, and I don't know what he's into. And I mean, if he's pro Second Amendment and that's it, like for all I know, I might end up agreeing with this guy. Like I said, maybe his title's clickbait, but I get the feeling he's gonna piss me off.
Hope you guys come back.
I don't know this guy's content. I don't know
chick's got
anything
to
about
say.
this guy. It just popped up on my feed. Did he say what this chick's got to say?
See what this chick's got to say.
Jesus Christ, man. And he's probably ex-military. And if he's ex-military, I'm grateful for his service.
I don't believe that.
Cammy, we're about to find out.
Show do some more investigating on this. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to definitely join us. Buddy.
Say something of substance,
just told the old chat to join the new feed. Thank you very much. I tried to revive the feed and it absolutely dropped.
Now, I don't know if this dude's,
Crazy
I
guy.
mean, I might end up agreeing with everything this guy says for all I find. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. He might have just used that title
Friends,
to click.
I will be back in a little while.
Where are you going?
Supper and dinner. What do I call? Please join Thinkfield. Please. You'll only be able to catch the Thinktown podcast on Thinktown Podcast YouTube channel.
Okay, so he just got up and left. Great channel, buddy. So all of this shit. This might end up just being a bunch of fucking nothing people. So he's got no sound.
Just glanced down and saw this as I try to pull this up. Yeah.
It sucks. I've gotten to the point where I can't fast forward because all of this was just fucking
Of this
nothing.
mentally deficient person who thought he was a girl or she thought he was a boy. Again, the jury is still out on that. I think it might have been settled so far, but I haven't settled it in my own head.
Okay, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why does it matter if the person is transgender, much less what they identify as specifically? I mean,
I still don't know. Let me see if the live stream is on their local Fox broadcasting or if they're actually going to have something else that we can actually utilize. Man, it looks like. Apologize. Give me 1 second. A little hard sometimes. I don't know when to predict what these.
Dude, apologize for the whole stream. Like
And they were. People are so stupid and dumbed down. Imagine.
Okay, here we go.
And they were kind enough to stream all day today, but it does not look like they're streaming live anymore. They're probably going to their normal programming right now, I would imagine. More than likely, the stupid little mainstream giggly sitcoms and stuff like that. That's part of the reason why people are so stupid and dumbed down today, because they are less concerned with watching something that has some real information being disseminated to them and they'd rather go see who comes in third place on the 5th season of American Idol than any real information out there that could benefit them. Sorry to sound so cynical, but I don't have much confidence in the entertainment industry.
Or people just sit there all fucking day long and stare at Fox News or CNN News, either one. But they just sit there fucking brainless and asleep, staring at a bunch of fucking half-cocked opinions with no fucking facts behind them to push a political agenda.
And I can't click anything right now. Everything seems to be locked up on my computer. By the way, YouTube.
So just for the record, folks, if you're somebody who sits around and watches dumb sitcoms all day, versus somebody who sits around and watches fucking Fox News or CNN News all day, then I'll tell you what, I'd rather have a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not because I like the sitcoms you watch, because chances are I don't watch sitcoms, at least none of the current ones. But I'd rather engage in a conversation with that person rather than engage in a conversation with somebody who's going to spout out insane tinfoil hat conspiracy theories at me about how evil the world is right now, and there's a big conspiracy, and China's trying to destroy us, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, because here's what's going to happen now, because the media is going, oh my God, it's a trans person. Now that that's happening, this is what's going to happen. Now, the political agenda, whichever way you lean, is going to take advantage of this, because there's an election coming up next year, folks. Okay? Everything that you see on the news, on either one of the mainstream news stations that I've talked about, are clearly with the agenda of pushing the narrative to trash one opponent and praise the other. So what's going to end up happening is this is going to be about Trump and Biden, and then the Trumpers are going to be like, oh my God, the trans people, I told you they were evil, the trans people, And then the trans community is going to come out and say, guns, 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 we need to ban guns, blah, 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 blah. When neither is relevant.
Scuttled my entire stream. Here we go. Earlier,
at least in my opinion.
The other stream that we were watching, at one point we had over 1,000 people in the room watching. Yeah, they canned the entire thing. So that was a little frustrating, because I felt like a pretty good conversation going on. Uh-oh, I got another YouTube notification. These guys have been sending. No, that's not what it is. They've been sending me warnings today about my live stream, and then they just canned the whole thing. They shut the whole thing down.
Gee, I wonder why. I wonder if a shit ton of people just mass reported you.
Patience, my friends, as I try to revive some kind of live content so that you all can see it while I am preparing my food that I'm about to eat.
Yeah, I promise you, if you're somebody who sits around and watches Fox News all day or CNN News all day, and somebody sits down to have a conversation with you, and then that person finds some way to excuse themselves from the conversation, I'm giving you a cheat sheet as to why. It's because you are obsessive. Okay. I understand that the news is to some degree entertaining. It should be entertaining. That's what it's supposed to be, since it's all bullshit now. But it's entertaining. And if it's anything more to you than that, because you're not getting any real information, there's too many opinions being thrown around by people who have a moral obligation and a journalistic ethical obligation to state facts and only facts and allow you to form your own opinion on those facts, not influence your opinion with their opinions. And that happens too often on the news. So if you are sitting around and watching one of these things obsessively, constantly all day long, and then you happen to go out into a social situation, sit down with somebody, and then they get up and walk away, ask yourself if it's because you started talking about something that was an uncomfortable situation for somebody. And even if they agree with you, 99% of the time, it's a fucking uncomfortable situation for them to talk about. They don't want to talk about it. That's why they got up and walked away from you. Because it's not everything in the world. Because that person who sat down with you and what's going on in their life and how they think, that could be infinitely more fascinating if you just paid attention and engaged in a conversation with them, in an empathetic conversation with them where you wanted to understand them better. And you missed out. You cheated yourself out of that experience. Because every brain, every mind is a universe of its own. And I mean a universe, an infinite, vast. And to have the opportunity to tap into that on some level, somebody letting you in on that to some degree, it's a gift. It's a blessing. But instead, everybody's so fucking concerned about taking their own opinions and putting them out there and pushing their opinions on someone else and saying, and their focus being, are they getting what I'm saying? Are they understanding where I'm coming from? Instead of, I wonder how much I can learn just from a good conversation with this person. And it's funny because you win that way. Like you look at the movie The Last Samurai, you know, where Tom Cruise is just so frustrated because he's being held captive by the head of the samurai guys. And he's like, why are you here? Why are you holding me here? Why don't you just kill me? And he's like, no, I'd rather have a good conversation. Because it's more beneficial. Makes more sense to know your enemy, right? But everybody's so fucking driven by their egos that you think that everybody must agree with you and everybody has to know if they just understood where I was coming from and understood my points and agreed with me, they would agree with me. And then we could change the world. That could catch on. And then they'll go and annoy somebody else the way that I just annoyed them. And then that'll spread. No, that's not realistic. That's not realistic, and that's not going to happen.
All right. I don't need that. Let me get rid of that link.
This guy is the worst live streamer I've ever seen in my life. And he has over 300,000 subs.
Yep. Apparently they're not going to that. So now let me go to the national. This looks like it's probably local programming now.
Bro.
So more than likely we are not going to pick up another live stream coverage of.
I could throw a digital rock out into the internet and hit a channel that's covering this. What are you talking about, dude?
Be back out of here completely.
Oh my God, dude.
If you want to see.
So this morning I was in Boston to see
her background.
The chief noted, as you said, that she identifies as transgender. They're not quite ready to talk about what, if any, role that played in the shooting. But obviously, the law that you just mentioned is on everyone's mind as a potential reason for what happened here. But clearly, this happening in the way that it unfolded with those children, the chief said,
overwhelmed at the thought of the loss of these families. of the future
I'm going to leave this up, guys.
lost
This is
by these
pre-recorded
children
earlier.
and their families. And the leading cause of kids get death now is guns and gunfire.
Not true, Fatty.
And that is unacceptable. But I want to thank the fast response of our officers. Guns
Let me kill this real
are
quick.
quick.
The audio on it. This guy is so stupid. Glasswork.
I mean, I'm not going to say that the guy's stupid, but I don't agree with him because he made this guy stood up there and made this thing about guns.
Asks, is Tennessee constitutional carry? Actually, since 2021, I believe I was reading this earlier on my other live
Tennessee
stream.
is constitutional carry.
That
yes.
I think in 2021 they passed constitutional carry, so they are in fact you can open carry or concealed carry without a permit. True permit.
Yeah, you could just carry a gun here.
Let's carry. So yeah, that's going to be attacked also. I saw earlier that there was a bill. Look, this is the guy that says I'm going to try to screen record this. This is the person who said this was a boy identifying as a girl.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said at all. I watched it. What he said was that the person identified as a transgender. You took it that way because you're an ignorant fuck. But all he said was that the person identified as a transgender, period.
I'll try to get to that question. Okay, here we go.
So
I want to screen record this.
So far, this guy has not consciously made an effort to mention the victims' names or how old the victims were or anything of that nature. So far, this guy's interest in the slightest bit has not been any focus whatsoever on the victims.
This. Okay, that doesn't tell you anything. Hold on. Somebody will ask what the killer identifies as.
Who cares, bro? Now, I want to be clear about something. In my chat, because I am a true patriot and I do believe in freedom of speech, you're welcome to your opinions here in this chat. Just know that they're subject to criticism. They're subject to debate. As long as you are respectful, you're welcome to express your opinions in my chat, no matter what they are. This guy's the worst fucking live streamer I've ever seen. This guy sucks. For fuck's sake, dude. Like, play the audio.
The transgender identity is about to come up from this guy.
No, it's not. He's so focused on that too.
think it's the next question.
Exactly. Why isn't he playing the audio? I mean, those of you who are hearing impaired or have loved ones who are, you're in luck in the sense that there's somebody
Here we go.
signing.
Here's the question.
We can't hear it, dickhead.
Yes. Listen, here's the question. We know the mental illness.
Ben Dreaming, thank you so much. And I appreciate the open dialogue. I appreciate it here too. Thank you. Agreed, Team Brittany. And I saw you in JB's chat. I know you're a moderator for JB for WFLA, and I was listening to JB because I really like JB. And he was even saying, like, please, remember the victims. I know where this is gonna go. Grandmaster said, Sophos, thank you. For Panda, thank you. I appreciate that. Panda appreciates it.
Okay.
Okay, what, dude? Is nobody in his chat telling him?
Did y'all get that?
No, nobody got it, buddy. Yeah, there's people screaming at him like, no audio,
Let me kill
dude.
that real quick.
No audio, dude.
Shooter has been.
All right.
There you go.
Sorry, guys. I did not have the audio going. That's
Yeah.
my fault. We will replay this later.
It's absolutely your fault. Yes.
But here's your spot right here.
Police Chief John Drake of Nashville, who is briefing reporters on the deadly grade school shooting.
Later time, there is some theory to that. We're investigating all the leads, and once we know exactly,
There you go.
we'll let you know.
Was this a targeted attack?
It was.
Do we know about a history of mental man or woman?
Don't know any history of mental illness at this time, but we are looking at that as the investigation is ongoing. And I'm sorry.
She identified as a transgender man or woman?
Woman.
Okay. All right. That's my fault. I guess I missed that. So he does.
That's what I've been
That
talking
is
about.
Police Chief John Drake of Nashville.
What have
who
you
is
been
briefing
talking about,
reporters
dude?
on the deadly
Please
grade
enlighten
school
us on
shooting
what you've
in
been
Nashville
talking
at the
about.
Covenant School there this morning.
I want you guys to see that again.
Testo, we have some writings that we're going over.
Thank you, Tracy Gilligan. Glad I'm here for a live. Just hate it because of the situation. Who the fuck is this Yahoo? Just got here. Yeah, good question. He's a gun nut. Nothing wrong with that. That's all I'm gathering from him, but he seems a little transphobic. We'll see. I don't know, but for some reason, he's really, really interested in the identity of this person's gender.
That locally here.
I'm gonna play the Chiefs' whole.
Yeah.
Here you go.
There were like two officers that went in when they first got there. Do you know how many there was?
So it was 5 officers that immediately went in and addressed. We have video that we're going to release, but you can see in the video, you can hear gunfire going on as they're in the school. They address the threat and take that threat down.
What do we know about her weapon?
So we know there were 2 AR-style weapons, one a rifle, another was an AR-style pistol, and the other was a handgun.
AR-style pistol.
We believe
Told you.
2 of those
Gonna have a
been
stabilizing
obtained
brace. I
legally,
guarantee you.
locally here.
Jesus
Can you
Christ.
confirm that one of the adult victims, Catherine, attended school?
Was what?
Now, I'm going
There
to
was
be
something-
honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and I guess I kind of understand it. You know what I mean? Like if you're a gun enthusiast, and you're hearing what kind of guns are used, and you like those guns, because you know a lot about guns, you're like, the action on this thing is just blah, 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 blah. But is this the right time? You know, dude, whoever the fuck you are, like, you think it's appropriate to talk about how, you know, I mean, what difference does it make what fucking gun this guy was using? What difference does it make? Or this woman was using. Sorry.
I don't know her exact capacity within the school, but it was higher up in the echelon.
Were any of the children victims related to any of the stuff?
Y'all kill me, dude.
Unsure. I believe one may have.
You all kill me. La-di-da. Why is he judging trans folks when he's not when we're not judging him for being his cousin? Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Been, but I can't confirm that.
Did the shooter have any criminal history at all?
No history at all.
And no motive at this point? Anything discovered in the apartment?
There's a motive.
or house?
There's a motive.
No, we have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. There's right now a theory of that we may be able to talk about later, but it's not confirmed, and so we'll put that out as soon as we can.
Is there any reason to believe that how she identifies?
I'm sorry, I knocked someone's mic over. I didn't hear you say that again, sir.
Is there any reason to believe that how she identifies has any motive for targeting the school?
We can give you that at a later time. There is some theory to that. We're investigating all the leads, and once we know exactly, we'll let you know.
So was this a targeted attack?
It was.
Do we know about a history of Nintendo man?
Yeah, let me address.
Don't know any history of mental.
Now, the marshmallow, obviously, this person is just a troll. You know, if you have actual valid opinions, you're welcome to share them in my chat, even if they're about JLR. That's fine too. But you're obviously trolling, and you're just trying to elicit a reaction out of my chat. So, mods, you could just get rid of them because they're clearly incapable of actually having a conversation.
Mental illness at this time. But we
Don't know
are
a history of
looking at
mental
that.
illness
Investigation is ongoing.
as
I'm
a
sorry.
recent history.
Transgender man or woman?
Woman.
Wait.
History of mental illness at this time. But we
Don't
are
know a
looking
history
at
of
that
mental
as investigation
illness
is ongoing.
as
I'm
a
sorry.
recent history.
Transgender man.
Okay. Now, what this dude just fucking did, if I understood correctly, okay, was that he is implying with humor that that being a transgender person is a symptom of mental illness. Yeah, dude, this guy sucks.
Man or woman?
Woman.
There you go. She
That is Police Chief John Drake of Nashville, who is briefing.
she identifies as a transgender woman. According to that, it's a boy. We'll play this again at 8 o'clock. I want you guys, I'm going to leave this live stream on there so you guys have something to watch. We will be here at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay, so this whole
With our
thing.
full panel, Chad Marino, Kendall Pruitt, and Miss Mackenzie Thorne will be joining us. You want to catch this one. This is going to be a good live stream. If you ever catch any of our Think Town podcasts, this is the one that you guys want to catch.
I hope those
So I
podcasts
will
are
leave
better
this
than
up
this.
for the next hour or so. I'll be back out here in about an hour.
Bro.
I got to eat some grub
Silence
There's
your
somebody's phone
phone,
going
bro.
on stream.
That's your fucking phone.
But yeah, guys, this is going to be a good live stream. Hope to see you guys here shortly. Thanks, friends. We will see you very, very soon.
So he left this thing going and walked off with no sound. Oh, this guy's the worst streamer of all time. This guy's terrible. let's look at some more of this idiot shit. Yeah. I mean, he's clearly like, yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at this stuff that he does, and yeah, it's all really political and it's all really right-wing stuff. Uh
Hey there, friends. I'm often asked, do you carry your gun at home? Well, the answer is definitely yes. In fact, unless I'm in the shower or in bed, I'm likely carrying. I will sit in my chair watching a football game, watching the news, sit and hear, making videos. I've got a gun on my side. Let me show you why. Just a little bit west of me, over in Houston, Texas, an elderly lady and an elderly man were robbed at gunpoint in the middle of the day. As you can see, this lady right here, poor thing, she has no idea that this guy is about to come running across the yard. She begins to scream. Poor thing, going her whole life, she probably never had an experience like this. So this has got to be super frightening to her, 70, 80-year-old lady. Eventually, her screams got the attention of her husband. Now, her husband was inside the house. Again, back to the question, do you carry when you're at home? Her husband is inside the house. The scumbag told him to go inside and get the keys to the BMW in the garage. The husband goes back inside. Again, perfect opportunity away from the lady. In other words, she's safe now because she's not near the scumbag thug. He goes in the house. Had he been carrying, game would have been over right there, right? Because again, the wife is safe at this point. Then the scumbag follows him into the house. Again, game would have been over. The man's not carrying. He gives the keys. The guy steals the car and gets out of there. Guys, people are emboldened today. You cannot approach the mind of a criminal like...
See, this is what happens when gun nuts fucking talk about shit like this. You know what I mean? This is what happens when you got gun nuts talking about this shit. Because look at this guy's fucking shirt. When you have gun nuts talking about shit like this, here he is saying, well, if she had a gun on her, then, you know, that wouldn't have happened. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Like, this guy was pointing a gun at them. Now, if they had seen, if this, you know, piece of trash, as he put it, had seen a gun on one of their persons, then he probably would have not taken the risk and then moved on to another target. More than likely. Sure. That's why I am pro Second Amendment in that sense. But, you know, well, Hillbilly Nitro USA, this is why I'm saying, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being somebody who is pro Second Amendment, but someone who is fanatical about anything, including guns, but guns being the case, guns being the subject here, this dude being fanatical about it is basically implying that if this woman was armed, that wouldn't have even happened, that they could have just shot him, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's just not responsible. It's not responsible because we don't know. We don't know how that situation could have turned out. The only way that I could see that situation having been avoided is if that person, that robber, that assailant actually saw a firearm that was visible on someone's person, and then went, you know what, not worth it, and then moved on. And if that is the case, then absolutely, and I do approve of and even support someone being armed, and if they want to carry their gun when they're sitting around watching TV, then right on. You know what I mean? But to say that this wouldn't have happened if they were carrying, when you really don't know what could have happened, that's irresponsible.
You cannot approach it like that. These people have been convinced by the news media and by the far left people that these things are theirs for the taking, that they are oppressed, that they are the people who are owed something, and the people they're stealing from, they owe it to you. So they, in their mind, have justified why it's okay to steal from you. So don't approach this like, well, today's a perfectly sunny.
How do you know that? How do you know what this dude is thinking when he's robbing someone? How do you know he's not just desperate? How do you know what the circumstances are in this person's home? How do you know what this person feels entitled to and what they don't feel entitled to just because they decided to go out and rob somebody? There are many reasons why, just as much as there's an infinite amount of possibilities for motive of a murder, there's the same with when it comes to robberies. See, that's just fucking insane, dude. Like, that type of black and white thinking is something that I can never, ever, ever get behind. That's my issue. My issue is not guns. My issue is not trans people. It's the black and white, it's either this or that mentality, that either this or that type of fucking mentality that is the problem in this country. That's the problem, in my opinion, in this country. It's not, the issues that people are passionate about. It's the fact that you think that this either you're with us or against us bullshit, that's what divides this country. That mentality, that way of thinking that everyone seems to have, or that the majority of people, not everyone, but the majority of people on a mass level seem to have, of it's either this way or that way. You can't be this way and that pick a side, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. No. Try to understand. And yes, tolerance is a thing. Tolerance isn't just some dirty word thrown around by CNN. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's misused. Sometimes it's used to manipulate the public. Absolutely. But tolerance and empathy are key factors in being a functional member of society, a productive member of society. But when you sit here and you're like, well, if you're not a gun owner, then you're part of the problem. Like, what? Like, to say that someone who doesn't carry a gun supports and protects predators, that's crazy. That is a fucked up thing to say. Because I don't carry a gun. I might decide to tomorrow. But as an American, I love the fact that I have the freedom to choose whether or not I want to carry a gun. I support your right to carry a gun. I'm actually grateful to those who are responsible and learn how to use a gun and they carry them. Absolutely. Okay, fair enough, Hillbilly Nitro. Your grandfather was robbed, shot, and killed at work. If you had been able to carry his gun, if he had been able to carry his gun, he might still be alive. Maybe, and I'm sorry to hear about your grandfather. Maybe you might be right about that, but you don't know if he still would have had time. You don't know if, that person could have gotten spooked at the sight of the gun and then fired. You know what I mean? I don't know the circumstances. I'm just saying that when it comes to someone getting robbed and then killed, there's all kinds of variables that take place, whether or not that person could their lives have been saved had they been protecting themselves with a gun. You just don't know. 1 second is a lifetime in a situation like that. And especially if you're somebody who if you're somebody who supports carrying a gun, well, then you understand that. If you're somebody who supports open carry, and you believe in the type of protection that a gun can offer, then you know better than anybody that 1 second is a lifetime in a situation like that. And you just don't know, man.
Sunny day, yeah, this is not a really opportune time for a thief or a thug to rob me or my wife. They don't see it like that. Again, they see an opportunity.
And this is the problem. Let me just get out of this real quick. This is also an issue to me, because this guy just sat up there and, without saying it in so many words, he implied that being a transgender person was a mental illness. And he tried to make it about, he made his whole live stream about that. Like, it was kind of ridiculous because his whole live stream sucked. Hold on. My point is, would you rather die trying to protect you and yours, or not carrying a gun and letting criminals have their way with you? Again, see, you're asking a valid question. But you're actually missing the key elements of your own question, because I do agree with you in the sense that would you rather? What that does is that implies choice. That implies the freedom to make that decision for oneself. Because I might decide that my life is worth some material possessions, losing some material possessions. I might decide that my life is worth preserving over that, over what's mine. I might decide that my life is worth preserving over the principle of what's mine is mine. Fuck that. I don't care if it's $1, and I don't care if it's a gold stash of a stash of gold bars in my garage. It doesn't matter. But I'm saying I have that freedom. As an American, I have that freedom to decide for myself. And you don't get to impose your beliefs on someone who says, I just simply choose not to carry a gun. They make me uncomfortable. I don't like them. Because somebody who experienced your terrible tragedy, let's say somebody experienced the same exact tragedy, that somebody tried to rob their grandfather and then killed their grandfather in the process. That person might be completely and totally turned off at the idea of guns because they lost their grandfather to gun violence. And they might think, well, you know what? I don't want nothing to do with guns. I don't believe in guns. And you have every right as an American, doesn't matter which side you're on, you have every right as an American to feel how you feel about that. So I don't think it's fair to make someone out to be irresponsible or worse, supportive of predators because they simply don't carry a gun, because they choose not to. Just like it's your right to carry a gun, it's someone else's right not to if they don't want to. But what I was saying about this dude is he was implying that being transgender is somehow a sickness. And this is a very, very interesting thing, because how do you think, if this is a lack of tolerance. This mentality is a complete lack of tolerance, and it's a complete lack of empathy, because you don't know. Okay, just like you don't fucking know what it's like to be a woman. So men do not have a right to tell women what to do with their bodies. Now, if a woman decides to, if a woman in Congress and in the Senate and has power to vote on laws being passed, and she votes to make abortion illegal. I'm going to respect that because it came from a woman. Because as a man, I don't know what it's like to be a woman, so I don't have the right to impose my beliefs on women and what to do with their bodies. That's why I'm pro-choice. Personally, I'm technically against abortion, but I still believe that it's a woman's right to do with her body whatever she chooses to do. And I don't say, and I'm not saying that in the sense that I'm just like, well, you know, it is what it is. I don't like it, but fuck. That's not what I mean. I'm saying I can't possibly have a valid opinion on it. I have an opinion on it in theory, but I can't possibly have a valid opinion on what a woman does with her body. You know what? I'll let you come up, man. And I'm only letting Hillbilly Nitro up. Okay. That link is in the chat for Hillbilly Nitro. I'm only letting him up. This is not an open panel. Team Brittany, thank you so much. Okay, wasn't going to get into this, but I am personally Carrie. However, another family member also carried, but was not comfortable with it. He died from a gunshot wound at 25 from an accident. I still carry, my choice. Exactly. It is about someone's right to choose. That is what it boils down to an individual's right to live how they choose to live. Period. Lex Lux, member for 5 months. Welcome to Logic. Love you so much. Not a girl fan. Okay, but thank you. Appreciate it. No, man. Hey, and I don't want any attacking of Hillbilly Nitro USA in here. I mean, his opinions are subject to criticism, but he's been a long supporter of my channel. He's been in my chat. He's always been really respectful in my chat. And so I'm going to allow him up here because I'm grateful for his interaction with everyone here in my chat. If you've been with this channel for a long time, then you know that you're familiar with him and his and how he's been in my chat. Hillbilly Nitro, what's up, buddy? Welcome.
What's up, man? What's going on?
Audio's good. I can hear you okay. I think everybody else can too.
Loud and clear.
You got a Monday afternoon 40 there, I see. Right on. Monday afternoon 40 there.
Yep. I had to get outside.
Right
and my dogs are barking. They don't like me.
Right
now,
on.
Anyway, I think it kind of confused what I was saying.
Okay.
I wasn't implying that just because I wasn't saying that if you don't you have to carry a gun or you protect predators. I wasn't saying that. I'm saying in my opinion.
I mean, you worded it like that, though. You know,
maybe I worded it. In my opinion, people that choose, making the choice, freedom of America, getting to choose not to carry when they can, in a sense, is protecting predators, because predators only make their way in the world because they see these people as prey. Correct?
I mean, yes and no. I don't think, like I said before, I don't think it's that black and white. But I think in a lot of cases you're right. But not necessarily generally, you know.
I mean, people don't go and shoot up gun shops typically.
No,
they don't
you're
go
right.
to the police department. They go to these schools because they're typically unarmed. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, and they know that it's just, full on when they get in there. That's
I'm in
why they do
agreement.
this.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm in agreement with you that these are weak predators. Absolutely. Everybody in my experience of following these school shootings, these mass shootings, it's usually someone who wants to whine and bitch because mommy didn't hug him enough or something to that effect. Uh, and uh, and then they want to make that a bunch of innocent people's problems. And a lot of the times, like this case, they write a manifesto. Now let's look at all of these things. Let's look at all of these details, these things that these cases usually have in common. These predators usually have these things in common, besides the fact that they shoot up innocent people, but they usually have an agenda, right? An agenda that's in their own mind. Okay. Now, the manifesto, or they have they make social media posts, or they make videos, and usually they're just whining and bitching about how they're unhappy and how their life sucks and blah 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 blah, instead of having the balls to go out there and actually attempt to fail so they can learn from it and then succeed. This is usually the case. This is my personal opinion. I'm not one of those people who makes these excuses for them, like, oh, we need to have some sort of mental health reform and blah 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 blah. No, I mean, that's somebody. If somebody has this on their mind, you're not going to cure violent thoughts. That's not going to happen, But again, I agree with you that these things will happen a lot less likely. These things are a lot less likely to happen if the common mindset is that most people carry guns, because it's going to screw up their whole thing. But it's not because they're afraid of getting shot. It's not that. It's because they're afraid of their mission that they premeditated, and their statement being made, it doesn't get executed. That's
So
what
they
they're
are
afraid
being,
of.
that is being afraid
Because
to
they
be
always
shot.
end up getting shot and killed anyway, right? They either turn the gun on
Yeah.
themselves or the cops end up shooting them, right? Doesn't that always happen?
That's usually probably in their plan. I mean, they're either going to off themselves or get off by the cops if they
Right.
don't have the courage to do it themselves. I've
Right.
always said my opinion on these things, and I've been saying this for years. I haven't really ever heard too many people talk about this, but if you want to cut school shootings in half overnight, rare events as they're rare, got better chances of winning a lottery than being in one. But if you want to stop them overnight, or cut them in half overnight, we would just stop reporting them. These people do this for infamy, fame, instant gratification all the way across the internet, just as we're giving this person right now.
Did you say
We are
stop?
giving them what they want.
Just a second there, Professor. Did you say stop reporting them or stop recording them?
Stop reporting on them. That's what it's going to take. They do this for the fame.
I agree with you, but the thing is that's never going to happen.
Exactly. I know
because innocent
impossible.
lives were lost. Innocent lives were lost, and we can't ever disrespect these victims that lost their lives. And so now, could there be a fashion in which to do so? Because now, here's the thing. I'm in agreement with you as far as what the problem is. We just don't necessarily agree on the solution. Okay. But the problem is definitely, yes, it's fame. They want fame. We live in a world where anybody can be famous overnight via social media. So yes, I agree that is usually the actual motive. The hidden motive is to somehow have some significance and make their mark on the planet and be remembered and be worth a shit in people's eyes in some way. I agree with you on that, but to stop reporting on it's just not realistic.
I know it's not realistic. I mean, I know that.
But
I'm just
now,
saying that's one of the
well,
ways
now
that you would stop it.
and now look at
Most
what's going on now. Now the issue in this particular case is it's a trans issue now for some reason.
Now, see, I don't agree with that. I mean, hang on a second. My earbuds went dead here. Have to change it. Okay. Now, see, I don't agree with that. I haven't heard what that guy said. I don't know who that guy is. I know quite a few people in the gun community. I don't know that guy, but I don't agree with that. You know, could being trans be a little bit of a mental issue? I mean, you're thinking you're a different gender. I guess it could be. People are perceiving it that way. Usually, these are religious people that look at it that way because it doesn't agree with their religion. You know, I don't know. So I don't think it's. But I guess we could say you may not agree with this. I don't understand why a trans person's. This is. I know this is not all in set in stone yet, but this person went into this school because they wasn't going along with the trans ideology. Is that what you're hearing?
Sorry, I'm reading chat and listening to you. Tony's Place is saying that it's a mental health issue. I disagree with that. Or at least it's not. At least it's not a mental health issue that can be addressed and solved. Like I said,
I mean, you gotta admit, killing people is mentally ill.
Well, sure, but what I'm saying is there's no cure for someone's violent tendencies. You know what I mean? There's no cure for violent tendencies in a human being. You can't generalize this situation with some sort of overall solution. It's not going to work that way. Each person has their own issues and their own reasons as to why they have chosen to become violent, or why maybe it's not their choice, but they all have different reasons as to why violence became why it escalated to acts of violence, why their mental health issues escalated to an act of violence. So there's no way to generalize it and put out a pill. You know what I mean? That's just not. It's not realistic either. So when people say, "Oh, well, we need to focus more on mental health and blah 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 blah," I think that's a waste of time and energy, if I'm being honest. And I'm not saying that focusing on mental health is a waste of time and energy. I'm saying that trying to generalize the mass shootings as a mental health problem that can be fixed is a waste of time and energy. I don't think it can be done.
Yeah. Here's another thing you don't know about me. My wife is actually a teacher at a school here in Tennessee. She's been a teacher for almost 19 years. So I've literally taken her into these environments, taking her to work, and thinking about this issue. You know, seeing the soft spots in the school, and she's kind of in a little different position. Doesn't work for the county. She works for a state-run school. They get kids from all over the state of Tennessee come into that school or bust in, and they live in dorms. And I'm not going to say what school it is, but it's a special education school here in our town. And you know, I've seen security. They have security guards there. Got to go through a gate. If you're not a teacher, you don't have ID. You know, you pretty much don't get on campus unless you show your ID or whatever. But if you got a school ID, that's how you really can get on campus. But the security guards are not armed. What would they do if somebody showed up with a gun?
Right. I agree with you in that sense. That's why I feel I mean, at the end of the day, I understand that you're working with children, and I understand that parents have a right to say, because on one hand, see, this is where these political issues become contradictory, right? Because the same type of person, generally speaking, okay, the same type of person who feels that they have a right over what their children are taught in school because it's their children. You know what I mean? Of course, right? So I have a right to what my kids are being taught in school and what's on their curriculum, and I have a right to have say over that, right? But then those same people will say arm the teachers and give the teachers and adult employees the choice and the right to carry a gun to work. Why not, right? Okay,
Yeah.
but what about if those same parents that they are defending as far as the curriculum goes, what if those same parents feel that they don't want their kids going to a school where there are guns? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
So,
that. I mean,
right there, you have a major dilemma.
I think that's a bit of there's a lot of things of uneducation there, because guns are just tools. They're nothing else. They're inanimate objects. They don't do anything unless we do it
I
with
agree.
them. And so, if they're inanimate objects, I think people get kind of worked up at the sight of a gun, maybe at the thought of a gun. But if you have multiple teachers there, they would obviously be trained, just as police officers are. They would obviously, no school would let a teacher on there not being trained for the firearm. Okay, I just don't see that. They would be training, whatever. That's always kind of been my thing. Maybe each school should have a teacher that wants to carry in that school, wants to go through the training, wants to go through all the steps to have a firearm locked in a box somewhere in case something happens. I wouldn't see any problem with that.
See, I agree.
And
I agree with all that. I agree
I
with all
see
that.
that as a deterrent, because that's
I
going to, if
agree with all that.
people know that there's multiple teachers in there and nobody knows who it is, then that's going to be a deterrent to the person who wants to make all internet headlines in a matter of minutes, be the ultimate troll, get all the infamy. The more numbers they rack up, the more they get talked about. I think that's a deterrent to, as I said before, they don't go they don't go shoot up gun shops, they don't go shoot up police departments. They typically go where people are unarmed, soft targets, gun-free zones, victim disarmament zones, things like that.
Well, right. I agree with all that. And me personally, my opinion is, if we weren't in the reality that we're in now, I wouldn't even be thinking about teachers carrying guns. You know what I mean? If we weren't in a society right now where mass shootings in schools, school shootings, if we weren't in a world right now where that was a problem, I wouldn't even be having this conversation. I'd be like, what in the hell? Like, why would a teacher need to carry a gun? That's crazy. That's insane. They're working with kids. But unfortunately, we live in a society right now in this country to where this is a problem. So I'm of the opinion that those parents who don't want their kids being taught by a teacher who might have a gun, and it's locked away safely, and there's no risk of the children actually getting a hold of it or anything like that. If the right steps are taken, then those parents can homeschool their kids, because unfortunately, this is the country that we live in right now. Unfortunately, this is happening. And I believe that those teachers have a right to defend themselves. This is a reality that we're in right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
They're basically, there's been multiple teachers killed, trying to stop these things, and they have nothing. They just have themselves, and they pretty much sacrifice themselves trying to save children.
okay, go find me The subject here and what we're talking about, well, currently right now we're just talking about the gun issue because that's part of the title here and part of the topic. But let me ask you this, Go Find Me. You're saying it was a transgender person who identifies as a woman. Why is that relevant? I'd like to know why that's relevant.
It doesn't. It's not. Their skin color, whether it's white, black, whatever, red.
Exactly.
Skin
It's
color
no
doesn't matter.
it's no different than talking about someone's skin color, in my opinion. It wouldn't matter if it was a racial thing. If it wouldn't be a racial thing if it was somebody's race and they would be shot down. This conversation would never have gone as far as it's gone. It's just, but for some reason it's an issue. For some reason, the news sources are making it the issue when
I
it's
think
not the
maybe,
issue.
what I spoke to earlier is this person supposedly had an issue with that school and maybe their transgender policy. Maybe that's what drew them there. I guess you could say, somebody's skin color could draw them there because out of racism. But other than that, no, skin color is not at the core of the issue. Transgenderism, or whatever you want to call it, is not at the core of it. But maybe that's why it's been talked about, is because that was the issue that drew this person there and supposedly made them do this. I don't know if it's fact, but that's what I've heard.
Right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and boot you off, man. I appreciate you coming up and sharing your opinion. I
I
understand
want
that.
to say one thing. Gets you a little bit. There's no buts when it comes to the Second Amendment. Second Amendment is not about hunting. It's not about self-defense. It's about the security of a free state. AR-15s are the teeth of our Second Amendment. They give us
Right
I got
on.
one sitting right beside me, but I won't show it to you.
No, I mean
don't want to get
that's fine. I mean, we can get into what we're in agreement as to what the Second Amendment was written for, what the purpose of it was, and we are in agreement for that when it comes to that. But yeah, I wanted to thank you for coming up here and I let you up. I let you up because
Thanks
I
for
know
letting me up.
you've always been supportive and you've always been very active in my chat and very respectful. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to address things verbally because I know that things can get lost in translation and comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you came up and cleared that up.
Yeah, man. I will jump back into the chat and hang out for a little while. Watch you.
Right on,
Good
brother.
chatting with you, man.
You too.
See you, man.
All right, bye-bye. So here you're saying, Greg, in the media's eyes, the trans thing is an issue. I have a theory, a very strong theory as to why it's a very prominent issue in the media's eyes, and that is because right now the media is driven by agenda. It doesn't matter which side. It doesn't matter what side you're on. Doesn't matter if you're on the blue or on the red. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that the media is calling it is pointing it out as an issue is because it helps with their agenda. Because whenever these things happen, the left will take the opportunity to say that it's a gun problem, right? But now the right has this opportunity to say that it's a trans problem, when it's just not. It's not. It's not either one of those things. The issue is somebody who happened to be trans who had a problem with the world, and for some reason decided that they could take it out on innocent children and innocent adults just the same, but 3 9-year-old kids. What in the fuck could 3 9-year-old kids have to do with what your issues are with the world? 3 innocent 9-year-old kids. What in the world could that have to do with your problems with the world? How, in what way is that in some fucked up way a solution for the problems that you have with society? And it's fucked up because this whole situation is going to get lost because of the media and what the media's agendas are. This whole situation is going to get lost in the whole debate of whether or not the trans issue is a problem in the United States. I'm going to tell you right now, how could it be? How could it be? How does it affect you individually? Okay? How does it affect you individually? How someone identifies, how they dress, what their favorite color is, how long they grow their hair, what kind of medicines they take in order to enhance certain hormones, or deplete other hormones, or whatever the fuck. I honestly don't know anything about it. But I here's the thing: is a lot of the reason why I don't know is because I don't fucking care. I'm being completely honest with you. I don't know a lot about what it entails to be a trans person because I don't fucking care. And a lot of you might take that like, oh my God, see, that's the problem, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. Tolerance does not mean wanting to know more and educating myself on a situation. That's not what tolerance means. Tolerance means it is what it is, not my problem. Doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. I don't give a fuck. That's tolerance. Tolerance means do you and I'll do me. None of your fucking business. None of my fucking business. Period. Live and let live. That's what tolerance means. It does not mean I have to be overly sympathetic with the things that you're passionate about. It doesn't mean that I have to be passionate about the things that you're passionate about. Doesn't mean that at all. Tolerance means I don't give a fuck. That's cool. Whatever you want to call yourself. If you want to run around and say that you're actually a giraffe because you believe that you're a giraffe, okay, I don't care. Now, a lot of you are going, how could you compare? How could you compare? That's ignorant as fuck. It's not. I'm admitting I don't know anything about what goes through a trans person's mind when they make that transformation. I don't know. But I'm telling you that the reason why I don't know is because I don't fucking care. Period. I mean, it's crazy to me because I'm seeing all this stuff about, well, now they're okay, let me get into this. So this took place in Nashville. Nashville is here in Tennessee, where I live. Apparently there was a law that passed banning cross-dressing or drag queen shows or something to that effect. Apparently, from what I understand, and I don't know if that's the case. Let me look it up. Hold on. Okay, see, that's NPR. I'm not going to. um, I want to get this from let's see. Okay, this is the Tennessean. Governor Bill Lee sparks national backlash after signing drag bill. But I want to understand what the bill says before I get into what I was going to say. Because this is a possible motive, folks. Okay, so apparently, spokesperson Jade Byers added to Lee's statement, I think the concern is right there in that building. Children that are potentially exposed to sexualized entertainment, to obscenity, and we need to make sure that they are not. And the spokesperson added to Governor Lee's statement saying the bill specifically protects children from obscene sexualized entertainment, and any attempt to conflate this serious issue with lighthearted school traditions is dishonest and disrespectful to Tennessee families. So my understanding is that the law is designed to protect children from sexualized drag shows, because apparently children were showing up. People were taking their kids to see drag shows where, and I've been to drag shows, and there is definitely a sexual element to them. I'm not talking about the gender part of it. I'm talking about the sexual element. And that sexual element being that they might make jokes, sexualized jokes and humor. They might make references to their genitalia, things of that nature. I've seen this live, and they're fun. They're fun shows. But do I think that children should be allowed in these shows? Absolutely not. No, I don't. And it's not because I think, oh, well, children should be taught, children shouldn't be taught about cross-dressing and blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm saying at all. As a matter of fact, I think sex education should be taught in schools. And I think that the reality that people are having sex with whoever the fuck they want should be addressed. Whatever you're into, it is what it is. Gay relationships are happening. It's a part of our society, and it's a perfectly acceptable thing. But there's absolutely no reason, in my opinion, why that shouldn't be discussed if you're teaching sex education. Because it is a reality. Because a kid, what are you not going to educate a kid if they turn out to be gay? Okay, Cherry, you're getting mad here. That's on the fucking parents, not the queens. They have been doing drag for decades. It's not okay that straight people have made it toxic. Quit taking kids to shows designed for adults. Okay, exactly. That's the point. Kids should not be taken to shows designed for adults. Simple. That's what that law is in place for, so that you can't take your kids to these drag shows. Drag shows are not banned. You just can't take kids to them. You're allowed to go to a drag show in Tennessee, but you're not allowed to have kids there. And even if the parents, are you going to let? Is a parent going to be allowed to take? Where does it end? Is a parent allowed to take their kid to a peep show in order to educate them on sex? No, of course not. Of course not. Now, if this ban was somehow a motive for this person, if this ban was somehow a motive for this person, well, this is really bad. Now, this isn't my opinion, but what I'm saying is, if this was the motive, and then they went and targeted children and killed those children, then all that's going to happen is that's going to reinforce the right's agenda, who have something against trans people, the far right people who are against gay marriage. And all of this shooter just set the progress of trans people back God knows how far. I mean, it just is what it is. Because if that's the motive and that was the agenda, that was the purpose, I mean, how do you justify shooting kids? It makes no sense. But yeah, no, I don't think that kids should be. I don't think that kids should be allowed at a drag show. I don't. Now, do I think that it's okay for someone in drag to teach teach kids in school? Sure, why not? What's the problem? Doesn't bother me in the slightest bit. Damn, Flexbender, you didn't even last a second with your dumb ass. Get up, Cherry. I mean, if I don't have a problem with a trans person or a drag queen or whatever, I don't have an issue with them teaching kids the Three Little Pigs or whatnot. Have no issue with that whatsoever. But a drag show that is designed to entertain adults, children should not be allowed there, and parents should not be bringing their kids to these things. And honestly, the people who run the establishments should police these things and say, this is not a show for kids. You need to take your kid home. The fuck's wrong with you? So I am definitely against the exposure of sexualized entertainment to children. I'm definitely against that. I don't care what it is. I don't care what the nature of it is. I don't care if it's gay, straight, whatever. But kids have no business at a show that is designed to be entertaining for adults with sexualized humor. Kids have no business at that. So that's what the issue with the law in Tennessee is, as I understand it. So if that's the case, then yes, I support this law. But I don't. I mean, I don't understand like why that would even be an argument. Right, yeah. No, and that's a whole nother thing. I mean, because again, there are things you guys have been watching me for the last week. This whole thing with MGL and Mallory, the trans issue is irrelevant to me. Totally irrelevant. Totally. Like, to me, like I said, MGL's transphobic remarks is just a drop in the bucket of the shitty things that MGL does. And I'm not going to talk much about that on this live stream, but I just want to be clear. It's just another example of an issue being made about something else that isn't about that. It just isn't about that. You know? I mean, it's just crazy to me. Right, exactly. What else do you expect from MGL? What else do you expect? That's why it's like we need to talk about MGL's transphobia. Why? Why do we need to focus on that so much? Like, she was reported to YouTube. She's on a YouTube timeout, and maybe she'll learn not to do that shit. You know? But here's the thing, though. When this backfires, and it will, everybody's going to shit a brick. And when I say backfire, what I mean is that when MGL comes back, because she will, when she comes back, she's going to get more subs and her streams are going to get that much more views. Why? Because reporting her just added to the controversy. It did. It's not going to stop her. And I'm not saying it was wrong to report her. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the result is inevitable. The result is inevitable because she's not going away. She's just simply not going away until everyone has a standard and you know, I mean, but it's just, that's not realistic. Nobody's gonna, you know, it's the same issue here, which is really funny. It's just a different situation and a much bigger situation. Like the whole thing with MGL and Mallory becoming a trans issue and me saying that it's irrelevant, the same argument applies with this situation. This is a shooting where kids lost their lives. In my opinion, the MGL and Mallory issue is tragic in the sense that it's being the trans issue has become the big subject to talk about, when in my opinion what trumps that, no pun intended, is the fact that both of these people have victimized families of victims and those victims themselves and disrespected memories and insulted missing children. To me, these things are, I'm not saying are more important, but what I'm saying is it's something that I'm passionate about, and for some reason that's being minimized, and I'm being criticized because I'm not more focused on the trans issue. I'm sorry, but the trans issue is not something that I'm nearly as passionate about as kids getting hurt or worse. I'm sorry. And that's just not going to change. And you trying to force that on me is just going to make me naturally resist. You trying to police that on me and being like, no. Trans people are being this, and they're being scrutinized, and they're being hated, and they're being bashed, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I know that. But to me, personally, just my opinion, that's not an issue that I am as passionate about as what both of them have done and what both of them will continue to do, which is victimize and exploit people who are already victims. That's much more important to me. So I think it's just as ridiculous as the media focusing on this shooter being a trans person. I think it's just as ridiculous to focus on Mallory being a trans person in this whole situation that's been going on that everybody's talking about on YouTube. Totally irrelevant to what the real issue is to me. Like, it's just killing me, man. Like, you know, man, this sucks. You know, it sucks that MGL does what she does. But then now I'm fucking outraged and I want to put an end to her because she said some transphobic things. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine that you feel that that you should put an end to MGL's reign of terror, but it's because she was talking about because because the trans issue came up. Now that's the outrage. Now that's what took you to get outraged. I'm not saying people didn't talk about it. Of course it was addressed. But the outrage where everybody is coming together to get her banned is over her saying some transphobic things. It's crazy. It's an insane world. Well, see, that's the thing is I'm not going to say it's worse because that would minimize someone's an issue that people are passionate about. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be passionate about the transphobic issue. I'm not saying that. It's definitely a problem. It bothers me. But it's not something that I feel so outraged about that it overpowers the fact that children are being hurt. That's what pisses me off. So, you know, there are 3 sets of parents and God knows how many other people in those kids' lives that are having the kind of day that I hope none of you ever have to deal with. I hope none of you have to deal with that. And and I'm so sad for, and I'm really sad for the trans community too, because what's going to happen here is that this is going to be all this anger is, by a particular type of mindset, these things are going to be directed at the trans community, and it's not fair and it's not right that this anger should be directed towards the trans community. It doesn't belong. It just simply doesn't belong. And trans people who are just trying to live their lives, just trying to function every day in our society, and live day by day, now they're going to get looked at a certain way by ignorant people in an even worse way because of this tragedy. And that's just simply not what the focus should be. Because trans, immigrant, black, white, whatever, that has nothing to do with what happened to these kids today. It doesn't matter what this manifesto says. I don't care what this manifesto says. Anything in these manifestos is dismissed as craziness and insane shit. Doesn't matter who the assailant is or how they live their lives. But at the end of the day, every time they have these manifestos, it's usually a bunch of ramblings, and at the end of the day are dismissed by people like you and me with common sense as bullshit excuses for shitty fucking behavior. That is a documented, it's put into words. It's documented. And it's a form of someone trying to justify their actions to themselves. and trying to make themselves out to be doing something more important and act like they're doing something good for the world. But at the end of the day, it's an action of someone who knows that what they're doing is wrong, and they're trying to justify it to themselves and anybody who will listen. Because they're selfish pieces of shit. Period. Right. That's all I'm saying. Guys, please, moving forward, when it comes to this case and everything that you hear on the news, please don't buy into the bullshit. Please try and keep in mind that the only thing here that matters is that these victims lost their lives. That's all. The only thing that matters are those 6 people who lost their lives for absolutely no valid reason. Guys, I love you very much. I really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.